2023, huh? What a year. I mean, better than 22, 21, and 20. Nominally, did at least get out and about more. Let's have a little look. Yes, Rasco Disco beer review with me, Disco, coming at you with another beer video from in front of the cans and bottles here on the bar. Oh, I'm still annually calling the Disco Arms. A little bit of a different video, I suppose, in some ways. It's that kind of end of year thing, although me being me, typically I'm a couple of weeks later that, and it is now 2024. But I did want to just kind of look back on 2023, pick out a few bits and pieces. Obviously, have a beer along the way as well. Normally, about this time of year, me and Rasco get on a live and go through our nominations for Beer of the Year and Brewery of the Year. And I do my own separate one for my Disco Beer of the Year. Now, due to various complications, various issues, both personal and creative, we haven't actually been able to do that for the end of 2023. For me, certainly with the disco beers, again, I just ran out of time for various reasons I'll come on to. And I haven't actually done my second lot of disco beers. I can't really give an award for that because I haven't tried them all yet. Still got them to do, hopefully coming up soon. I had a few stumbles in terms of beer videos this year. I didn't make as many beer videos, didn't put as many up. I don't think I even drunk as much beer this year as in previous years. I certainly didn't review as much. Normally, I scroll through my Instagram grid and the thumbnails on YouTube to see what beers I've reviewed, see what beers I've looked at, and use that to formulate my kind of beer of the year list. We did halfway through the year, we did do a beer of the year so far show, and I have looked back on that. But I kind of feel I just haven't reviewed enough beer this year to make a kind of judgment on it. I mean, normally I kind of do. I don't kind of. I'm not anal about it. I don't like rate them, write them down. I just don't give them numbers. I do just pick things that have stood out in my mind and things I've enjoyed the most. Like particularly the year before, it was a kind of unusual beer that I went back for again. That was the May Contain Bramhalls from Fierce Beer. That was my beer of the year for 2022. The other thing I've had this year is things are changing a bit personally since October. I spent a lot of time this year up at my favourite, well, one of my favourite local breweries. In fact, pretty much my only local brewery. Probably had me banging on about it, Perivale. Since October, I've actually been working there a couple of days a week, doing some brewing, doing some bottling, kegging, and a lot of cleaning. Also slinging beers on the bar, and just sort of generally helping out, just brewery assistant. Because obviously I've been there, spent quite a bit of time there, so I know a fair bit about the beers. By no means an expert. I just really like talking to people about beer. Really enjoy their beers. Got a good range of beers to talk about, from the pale ales. Got the slightly more unusual sour beers and the foraged ingredient beers, all the way up to probably the oatmeal stout. That might be my favourite. That could have been a beer of the year contender. I did actually put the very zesty lemon sour as a contender for beer of the year. That's because it was in the summer and it was just drinking really nice. It's a nice, refreshing, almost lemonade style beer. Got to do a proper review of that. I did do it on the live show, but I've got to do a proper standalone video of that again at some point, hopefully coming up. But consequently, I kind of feel a bit compromised, almost, maybe not so much compromised as such, but it's mostly just that I haven't had so much other beer, and those beers kind of stick in my mind because I see them so often. I think John from Lordsbury, uh, good friend of the channel, one we watch quite a lot. he said, being that he's a brewery owner, he's not really doing beer reviews because it's kind of not really fair. He does drink other beer apart from his own, and I drink other beer apart from Perivale. I'm still doing beer reviews, only around that. I just haven't had a chance to do so much. So I'm not doing a brewery of the year this year either, although it probably would be Perivale running on from last year. He was my brewery of the year last year. Rasco, on the other hand, he's been doing some good stuff this year. He's continued the interviews with various beer and brewery people.
How long's Dodonga?
So January 2017, so 6 years we celebrated at the beginning of this year.
Yeah.
And it's been a wild ride.
Gee, what's happened?
I don't know. Unprecedented event after unprecedented event.
Yeah.
Been out to various beer festivals and conducted interviews. I've enjoyed them a lot. There's been some good chats that he's had and some good information coming out of them.
Going around, you bump into people, and you are, sir, I'm Peter, and what do you do, sir? I write about beer, and I write books that take beer writing in different directions.
As I say, we've been to a few beer festivals. Went to Ealing Beer Festival. I enjoyed going to. I enjoyed getting to. I made that video of getting to it, which took a lot to put together, but I really enjoyed. Managed to sneak a quick trip to GBBF. Didn't actually get any content out, again for personal and creative reasons, but met a lot of other YouTubers and beer people there. Said hello and enjoyed the beers. Talking of which, I probably should get a beer in a glass. That was what the aim was. I'm going to go with this one. Riggwelter. This one, again, I meant to put on video at some point. Yes, it came out of a Beer 52 box, and I did a couple of videos on them. I say last year's Beer of the Year came out of a Beer 52 box originally. I went back for some more. This is beer that I remember from back in the day on hand pumps, and I was never a big fan of it then, or I don't remember it being, but then I don't remember it being a dark beer, and clearly it is. Cheers. Oh, yeah. So it's 5.9%. They call it a strong beer. I wouldn't call that particularly strong, especially in today's kind of craft beer climate. But yeah, there's some good dark malts in there, some black malt, a little bit of fruitiness. It's an interesting beer, actually. It's quite cold today, so I'm going to let that warm up a bit. So, in lieu of any Beer of the Year awards, I don't think this one would have quite hit the mark, but it's close enough. It's quite a decent beer. Quite enjoy it. Anyway, in lieu of any of the Beer of the Year and Brewery of the Year awards, we can do something a bit different this year. I'm going to look at other parts of YouTube. I'm not sure if it's a good idea to review other reviewers, so I'm not as such. I'm just going to, I guess, have a massive name drop. So here's a quick list of other YouTubers. Probably of all the many beer reviewers, and there are quite a lot on YouTube and the beer kind of content channels, just going to go a quick top 5, might be more than 5, of channels that I probably, on balance, I haven't done it exactly, but I think I've watched the most of, or probably look out for the most. In this category, there's a bunch of honourable mentions. First of all, Shark Homebrewing over in America. Does quite a lot of live, so it's really good chats. Done some chats with us, and we have a lot of good banter and joking about hoppy beer and smoked beer and stuff like that. One of the things I've enjoyed from Shark recently is a lot of I think they're AI style information videos about various individual hops. It's kind of interesting for me and useful for me because I don't really know that much about hops, and I learned one or two interesting things I think off of that. So I really enjoyed Shark's content on that, and also, like I say, chatting generally. Big shout out as ever to Hopzine, Rob. Been around for a long, long time, knows a lot of stuff. Does these short, concise, mostly videos, just piece to camera videos. Short, concise, is Yorkshireman, doesn't waste words, doesn't waste energy and stuff like that. Just tells you the bare basic facts, pours the beer, drinks the beer. I kind of like that in a way because it's just a bit more compelling. Just or the style he does it is really compelling. And I know he knows a lot about the beer, so doesn't always drink the sort of beers that I want to drink, but it's always worth a look to learn about new stuff. Does a lot of lives alongside Craig. Kent Beer Reviews, big shout out to him. Massive thanks to Craig. I haven't really spoken to him since GBBF, but I did have a good chat, and I want to say big thanks to him for that then. Hang around live. Also, Bluenose Beer Reviews got busted off YouTube and he's slowly building his channel back up. So I do enjoy dropping into some of his beer reviews. So I'm going to go this is kind of the top 5, I think. In number 5, there's no particular order. This is just kind of probably the ones I watch the most of, and I watch almost, I wouldn't say I watch almost all of their content, but the ones I watch the most. Big shout out to Crumby Beard from Nottingham. Does some excellently put together, very well produced videos with high quality, investigative, looks in depth into different details about different beers. Also got a little side interest in whiskey. Not so much for me, but I still find the knowledge and the way he presents it very interesting. Often not so much recently, does a lot of weekend live, early afternoon, early evening live shows, which is always worth dipping into and always salad to. Whilst we're in Nottingham, of course, there is the little Raggy of Raggy's Beer Reviews, Billy Ragg. Got his own beer out recently. Haven't got round to that one again. Apologies, Raggy. I will get onto it. But I always enjoy looking at his particular take on beers from far and wide in various different places, both supermarket and local beers and smaller brewery beers. It's all good stuff. Keep up the good work. We'll catch you on a beer soon. In at number 3 on this list is kind of a relative newcomer to the scene, Bramhalls Backroom Brewery. Rob up in Stockport brings a lot of knowledge, especially about home brewing. And home brewing is not quite something I've not quite got back into, although we did try it briefly. Although with doing actual brewing now, that's probably even less likely. But Bramall comes out with some good stuff. He's done a collab beer up with Lords. I think tried that at GBBF and it was really good. And he knows his stuff. And also he does a lot of good, a lot of low-level giveaways as well, which for a smaller channel, is kind of approaching 1,000 viewers breaking onto the scene. Does a lot of giveaways, which is really good. I don't know how many organised. I've got to chat to him about that, but I always try and enter because I think it's a good thing. Plus, a lot of interesting beers that he does on the channel. Also, a side channel that he does, Bramall does, which is kind of his food and travel and everything else. So, kind of double the content there. In at number 2 is probably the top 2 for me are probably 2 channels that probably don't get as much recognition as they maybe should. In at number 2 for me is Travel and Brews. A guy called Liam. He's down in Croydon way, but gets out and about. Did actually bump into him this year. Was at Fuller's Brewery in Chiswick, the London Brewers Beer Festival. I was at because Perivale were there. But he did a series. One of the things I really enjoyed this year, he did a couple of series where he did actually do the travel side of beer, including one particular series that kind of emulates for me some of the other travel YouTubers, which more about in a bit in the next section. He done a series of a pint or beer in as many European capital cities as possible in 72 hours, I think it was. Now, that for me is an immense undertaking, something that as a fan of travelling beers, I would love to do at some point, and I've got a few ideas around that I'd want to be doing, but it was a fantastic little series. Really enjoyed just going to random capital cities and the organisation and the attention to detail and the requirement of getting there and finding a beer and dealing with overnight travel and stuff like that. Really, really enjoyed that. In at number 1 for me is a YouTuber that I kind of watch everything they put out because they only put out a video almost once a week, pretty much. Sometimes not even once a week. Sometimes not even once a month. Just when he's got a beer video collected together, and he always drinks exceptionally good beers. Every beer he drinks looks smooth, has a perfect head, mostly because it's out and about, it's in pubs. It is, of course, Slurpy Dave on the Isle of Man. Does a lot of good work for the Isle of Man Tourist Board. I don't think he gets paid for it, but he's always travelling across to pubs on the Isle of Man. I don't even know if he's done them all yet, but it seems like there's always another pub to go to. Also done a bit of content getting off of the island, going to Manchester, Liverpool, and a canal holiday through Cheshire, amongst other things. But I always look out for his videos. It's always a really entertaining watch, even if some of the jokes are a little bit, well, dad jokes. But that is my kind of joke, even though I'm not a dad. That might be a faux pas, but there's one for you. There's one of my favourite jokes. It's terrible, isn't it? But yeah, loving Slurpy Dave's content. I think I've watched every minute of what he's put out in 2023. That would be, if I was doing awards, would be my beer YouTuber of 2023, Slurpy Dave, over in the Isle of Man. Cheers, sir. Keep up the good content in 2024. And if I ever get over to the Isle of Man, and I will buy you a pint. Back to the beer. I've been quietly sipping this Riggwelter. I've been quietly sipping this Riggwelter. It's from Black Sheep Brewery up in Masham in Yorkshire. They describe it as strong, dark Yorkshire ale. Kind of no messing about with this one. Is kind of as I say, those dark malts. It's a really nice roasty beer without being a stout or a porter. But it's got a good body to it, good flavour. There's kind of burnt toast, kind of raisin notes going on there, which for me, again, non-adjunct, just that's what they do with the malts. But I actually kind of really enjoyed that one. It's good. Certainly this time of year, nice dark, roasty, malty beer. So that's me for 2023, even though I didn't get around to it until early 2024. Hopefully this year I will carry on doing beer videos. I do slightly get this kind of piece to camera stuff. I always have trouble with the lighting and the beer and saying the wrong thing. And I get a little bit of anxiety, and I've canned so many beer reviews this year that just haven't quite been good enough for me. But hopefully in 2024, get out and about a bit more. I'll do some more beer reviews, maybe a bit more footage from Perivale. Maybe I'll see you for a pint up there sometime. Check it out. Until then, I've been Disco, Rasco and Disco Beer Review. Wherever we go from here, cheers and enjoy the beers.